Your textbook defines leadership as the process of influencing an organized group towards accomplishing its goals. The main themes for leadership are: leadership is a process, not a position. Leadership is both a science as well as an art. Leadership is both rational as well as emotional. Leadership and management, while different, are complementary. If you know your history, then you'll probably be aware that Winston Churchill was a brilliant wartime leader, bringing the UK from the depths of despair at the beginning of World War II to being triumphant alongside the Allies at the end of the war. He was the undisputed king of wartime leadership at that particular point in time. But in peacetime, he was an average leader at best. What happened? Did he lose his touch? Did age and the effects of war wither away his ability to hold a nation together in peacetime? The greatest factor that tarnished Churchill's crown was that the peacetime situation was totally different from that in wartime. There is a strong interaction between the leader, the followers, and the situation. These three factors form a framework in which leaders can now effectively understand their own leadership. Understanding this interaction provides a useful tool in understanding what changes are required to allow themselves and their followers to be productive. The essence of the leader-follower situation framework is that each component interacts with the other, and the strength and weakness of each are subjective. Situations are chaotic and change is a constant. Leaders have the authority to change each component, but you know what? So do the followers. For example, followers can band together to force change upon leaders. Industrial action is such an example. If the followers perceive that leaders are creating or not actively resolving a bad situation, they can force a change in leadership more easily than they can change the situation. What's important to remember is that the leader, the followers, and the situation all react with each other. If a situation changed, such as the change in situation for Churchill, then the interaction between the followers and the leaders can change dramatically. Leaders who grasp this concept have an advantage over those that don't. Now, why is this the case? Let me tell you a little story about a man called Steve Jobs. I'm sure you must have heard about him. When Steve Jobs started Apple with Steve Wozniak, he thrived in a situation where he was bereft of resources, and he used creativity and innovation to make up for the company's shortcomings. In a very short period of time, Steve Jobs put Apple on the world map. However, when the situation changed and now he had a company to run and consolidate his leadership, he actually became a hindrance to his own organization, and he was let go by the board of directors. A decade later, Jobs returned to Apple as a CEO and thrived in adversity and abundance. He had shown that he had grown as a person and as a leader who could adapt to any situation. So, ladies and gentlemen, leaders must understand that the situation and the followers have a major influence on their performance as perceived by the outside world.